everyone, and welcome to the Ladies Tale podcast. I have a job today.
I know, right, y'all? I've been busy behind the scenes trying to do all the other things that have to be done. But
Yeah.
how about celebrating myself? Like that? That seems like a little bit like your job.
I am the narcissist after all.
Oh, I'm Jade.
Oh, right. And I will not high five for remember to
right?
introduce ourselves. Like, I feel like we're doing professionalism today.
I feel like we bought it.
Oh yeah, I mean we have to because we have two amazing people in there.
I know, right? In the room, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna get judged horribly, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter because y'all, we wrote books,
and these are. And I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only our mere memoir and verse, foreign web, widow's debt, and widow's web.
Okay, so
you didn't even let me.
Yeah, you didn't even let me say literary life guides with pop poetry. Okay, like normally we say that literary life guides with pop poetry, but you can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andithoughtLadies.com.
But you're not here to hear about us.
You're here to hear from my wonderful guests. Wonderful guests, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hey, I'm Terrah Bennett Smith.
And I'm Tess Cacciatore. We're so happy to be here today.
Yes.
Did I have y'all in the house like this? Well, in the ladies' cave, in the women's cave.
It's the women's
cave. You call it the women's cave. Okay.
Yeah, not the women's cave. We're both right across. I can look out my window and see where Terrah lives. So we're close. Not in the same location, but we're close.
Oh, I was about to be like, is there wine happening later? And also, am I invited? Because I love cocktails.
Always invited for wine.
You would have to do it virtually though, because we're not where you are.
Oh, it's like I'll catch a plane.
I'll catch a plane for cocktails.
So we'll be what? We'll be there 2 hours late.
I'll catch you for time.
Yeah, we'll be there 2 hours later. So. I'm not good at math. I write books. Okay, so I really wanted to ask because both of you are just phenomenal women,
right,
in your careers.
Yes.
How did y'all get started? And yes, there's that southern y'all get started.
Yes, absolutely.
Y'all.
The y'all.
Terrah, go ahead.
Well, I'm from New York City, and I started in front of the camera, basically in dance classes, because my mother threw us in dance classes, so we would stay off the streets. And that kind of parlayed into doing Broadway, and I was a recording artist and a lot of theater. And then moving out to LA, I got sick of theater because I did so much in New York that I wanted to do more television and film. So I came out here, and the first thing I booked was a pilot, a spinoff for The Facts of Life. And then I just kept on booking jobs and then parlayed into behind the camera, where I still do both now as a director. My first feature film was called Flip the Script with Robin Givens, Miguel Nunez, and that's as a director. And then I just kept directing and producing. And I also do workshops and empowerment workshops for women through my organization, Reclaim Haven. We try to help you to redesign your blueprint and rewrite the script of your life. That's kind of what we do there. And yeah, I do all of that stuff. And I'm now coaching and helping hopefuls who want to get into the industry so they won't bump their head 95 times. I give them the from point A to point B of what they
I feel
need.
like now that
and I'm a mother of 3 amazing children, not children,
wow,
young adults now.
In the midst of doing all of that.
Yes, life goes on, life goes on. So that's me in a nutshell.
Wow,
I have so many questions.
Nutshell.
I have so many questions.
Okay.
Not enough time, but so many questions.
Not enough time. I'll do mine as quickly as possible. Grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, started dancing very young as Terrah did. We actually lived down the street from one another in New York, not as familiar from here because we didn't know each other back in the day, but I too did soap operas, music videos. I had a recording contract with CBS, Bobcat Records, loved behind in front of the camera as well. That's why we have such similar interest in what we're doing in the empowerment side. I have an organization called Global Women's Empowerment Network. And I do a lot of things for advocacy for sex trafficking, domestic violence, abuse, and healing. So those are kind of the lanes. And then Terrah and I met several years ago, over a decade by now, and we came together to do a series that's out on Tubi right now called The Right Turn. We can talk all about that.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so I have a couple of things to say. First, Des Moines, Iowa, the Iowa State Fair, yum. Right.
Oh,
so y'all might have heard me say yum when you said Des Moines, Iowa, because I was like, ooh, fried Oreos. Okay, I'm back.
Everything.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah. And then when you said theater, I thought, oh my goodness, how do you remember those lines night after night after night? I sometimes forget my own name.
But once you get them, you got them. And then every now and then you have a brain fart. So you might stand there and somebody has to feed it to you. But when you've been doing it a long time and you're working with people, especially when you're doing theater, that means you're doing the same project over and over. So someone can actually guide you back. They may say something, if your line was, I really love those red shoes, they may say something like, so have you found some shoes that you liked yet? I really love those. And that'll jar you. So there's all kind of little tricks of the trade. But for the most part, it's just muscle memory. It's like riding a bike.
Do you do the same in television as well? Or do they
television is a little bit different because unless you're doing a live show, most shows are pre-recorded. So you get to stop and they call cut and then you pick up your line. And television, they want your lines to be more accurate because it's a time thing. They have to get everything in, and the writer, you're not allowed to take the writer's words and change them around unless they give you permission. So
unless they're on our set.
yeah, on our set, we do what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I need to ask you about this set, because if anybody, all of our fans knows this question is coming, and we normally save it for last, but since y'all talked about a set, I have to say, so craft services on your set. And also
it's our life goal since I was 12 years old to have craft services on a set. So I just want to know what's craft services like for either of you, both of you. We'd like to hear both stories.
Well, I figured since you're an fried Oreo girl, you love food, obviously.
I do.
All the questions on the planet Earth, we've never really been asked about craft services. However, we don't mind answering. When you're doing independent projects and you're independent producers, one of the key things you always want to make sure is that people eat well.
Yes.
Because, when you can't pay them the big bucks, their tummies need to be full. So we try to keep it as healthy as possible. The staple things are always chips and maybe some cookies or something like that, because people can just grab those and, they like the chips. But I think for the most part, because we're fairly healthy eaters, you want to make sure that your crew and your talent don't crash and burn from too much junk food, because it'll take you up. And then if you're still shooting 10, 12 hours, you will crash and all you want to do is go to sleep. So you have to make smart choices. As far as
with regard to filming during COVID, we had a lot of very small sets. So we filmed most of Celeste Wright Turner, Terrah's part, in my home. So because I love cooking and I love catering, I had my own little baby catering company way back in the day. A lot of times I would be cooking in the kitchen while we're running to the store to get craft service stuff, which, as Terrah said, chips and cookies and apples and healthy stuff. So we made sure that we accommodated to vegan and allergies and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to
put Kitchen Cacciatore, so she's a very Italian.
Yes, I'm Italian Cancerian. Terrah's Italian Cancerian too. So we all would have the food, mangia.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say that Winona and I, we handle a broom and a mop very well, just in case you ever need some volunteers on set that you will still feed.
If you're here, you hit us up and you will be on set. And you might even end up in it. You might end up in it. So we do that too.
Okay, so yeah, now we have to talk really about your initiatives, women empowerment. We're gonna get back on schedule, y'all. We're gonna do it.
Okay, so like the next question I was gonna ask about is, you both said you went behind the camera. Can you tell us what it was like going from in front to behind the camera, and were there any challenges?
For me, there was not really a challenge, because I think I was innately about business. At a very young age, and growing up in the Bronx and the projects, we had a community terrace, which is like a balcony that had like this gated thing in, and it had a cement seat that went across the whole thing. And I would put on shows every weekend. I'd make people buy tickets, and one side of the room would be the costumes, and I'd have the drape up, and then all my family, they would come and sit on the cement. I get all my neighbors and we sing Diana Ross songs. And, so that was kind of my thing. I was always running the business while I was in front of the camera. So I never thought that I wanted to direct or anything. I just wanted to act, and it kind of happened. I think my first thing was a theater project that a friend of mine needed to direct. She's like, you've done so much theater. And it was true. I knew what to do because I'd done so much. And then it just kept parlaying and from one thing to the next. So initially, for a person who was used to being in front of the camera, it was an adjustment, because what happens at the end of anything you do, the focus goes to the people on the stage. It very rarely will go to the people behind the camera. So I'm used to being the person on the stage. So it was an adjustment, at the end of the show, nobody's coming up to me going, "Oh, Terrah, great job." But what I learned was that as I sit and I watched, I really became empowered and excited about what I was able to put together to help others. So it became less about my ego and more about the fact that I contributed something that helped others. And that's really what's the honest truth, how I position. Yeah.
So I started in front of the camera on stage as well. I did a really wonderful theater program, a BFA at Stevens College. So we had to do set design, set build, stage management, sound, costumes, everything. So there was a full-blown 3-year, 2-summer stock program. And when I really got the directing bug was the directing program that I followed. And I did something really crazy, and I went off campus and I did this independent thing and made the director department really mad at me, and they still talk about it after all these years. So I feel like, I'm a rebel in a lot of ways. And so I love being on both sides. What I loved about being in New York and switching over to producing side was that I felt like I had a little bit more control of my career, because a lot of times when you're up for soaps and things like that, you might be passed for a job, you're down to 2 people, and you get passed for someone who's shorter because the lead actor happens to be shorter, or brunette versus blonde, or depending on what kind of nationality they wanted. So I felt like I could have more control. And so I had a lot of fun working with Terrah on The Right Turn, because we got to do everything together.
Okay,
Wow.
so I've heard The Right Turn a few times.
Yes,
Did you
I
guys-
was gonna
Wait, I'm sorry, what challenges did y'all face? And then let's ask about The Right Turn.
I was gonna be like, and making the right turn. See, I was gonna do a Winona question, making the right turn. What challenges did you face before you got to that point where you said, "You know what, we need our own project"?
I wouldn't call anything a challenge. I would just say they were opportunities to move forward. I don't like the word challenge because it feels, it's like, oh, they were blocks. I think that what happens when you're faced with what appears to be something, you find another way around it. And then the more you do that, the easier it becomes to do that. So for us, I would say, we were really, because I think we collectively and separately done so much, as far as what we are capable of. We're basically a 2-female production team. Like we could, with maybe one other person, be the whole crew if we needed to. So that's why I don't know about challenges. I would say, the most challenging part of it could be when COVID hit. How do we navigate around COVID and the rules and the SAG and the union? And we were able to do it by, just condensing our crew. And the project started out really small, a really small idea, and then developed into us having Tisha Campbell on and all these different people on the series. So it started to take on its own life. And I think if there was a challenge, it would be catching up to what kept happening. We had to catch up to it. So I would say that.
I like that attitude. That's amazing.
I did hear an interview with Terrah before, and she said if it wasn't for Tess, I probably wouldn't have done this. Wait, was that okay to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Both things you didn't even check before.
That is so true.
No, it's fine because
I'm very excited.
yeah, this project probably, something to this magnitude. I mean, I could do it now, but when you do it your first time and you've never really, I've produced things a lot, but I've never produced a whole 8-episode series and figure out how to get it done. But there are days when it feels overwhelming. And so it's nice to have somebody who's not overwhelmed that day. They can have your back and vice versa,
So what did you find especially interesting about this project that's special? And then of course, please answer the challenge question. Or we keep throwing it out there, right?
So the challenge question, I think the challenge would be, I don't know, I look at things differently. Like Terrah said, there are opportunities for growth. So yes, on any given day, you come up against anything, whether it's getting to one place to the other with bad traffic. I think it's how you look at life, that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So you meet the opportunity and you breathe through it, and it's how you react. I think that's, probably a safe way to answer that question. Because believe me, every day we're faced, challenges. So how do how do you approach it? How do you get through it? As far as the right turn, it started off as a small project, as Terrah mentioned, in 2015. And, short answer is that it was an idea that I had to do for a director's contest. And I was actually mentoring young directors. And Terrah was coming in from the segue of coming back into acting. And she said, I'll do the project. And we met with this other person who we were working with that I directed in a pilot, Eduardo Costa from Italy. And it was a short, small project that 3 years later we came together and said, let's make something bigger of it. So yeah, it went from a 10-minute piece to 8 50-minute pieces. So when you look at it, it's like, 4 films that we basically did single-handedly without studios behind us during COVID. And yeah, that could be considered a challenge, but we met every brick on the road and took the brick and put it in the house and kept building the bricks until we had the right turn mansion.
Absolutely.
Yep, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yes.
I really do love that, because Winona and I, as y'all know, our team, right? As in some days, what Stella was talking about, some days you are a little bit like, can we do this? And then Winona look at me and be like, of course we can do this. And then some days she's like, I don't know why we do this. We're like, we're gonna keep on going. I'm saying that, so I understand what it's like to have somebody have your back in that way.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling overwhelmed, they're not. And then when they're feeling overwhelmed, you're not. And it's just pushes you to make a wonderful project. So let's talk a little bit about the Right Turn, what it's about, and then the initiatives that y'all are doing, the women empowerment, and how people can support and do this and help you.
You want to do the Right Turn, Tess? You want to start out?
Sure. So The Right Turn is a series on Tubi right now. We have full 8 episodes, as we mentioned. We have 4 episodes up there right now, so you can go to Tubi and watch it. And it's WRIGHT, and it's the story of Celeste Wright Turner, aka Terrah Bennett Smith, who comes to the 50-something crossroads, divorced, grown children. What do I do with my life now? And all kinds of really beautiful challenges get presented in the pilot, like her ex-husband wants her back, and where is she going in her life with regard to love, romance, and her career. She owns a PR firm called The Right Turn PR, which handles all social conscious programs, whether you're an author. We have celebrities that are playing themselves in the series, like William Catt from America's Greatest Hero. Terrah mentioned Tisha Campbell, Sherman Augustus, Isabella Hoffman, Sharmila Devar. We have a really great cast, Christopher Duncan. We have a great cast of people, and even the people that aren't well known, like the people I mentioned, the cast is filled with just amazing talent. Everyone came with full game on, and it's like we built a family. So we're really excited about getting the last 4 episodes out, which is what we're up to right now.
Love it.
Can we talk a little bit about, just tell us 2 sentences about y'all's initiatives, and then that last question is, what advice do you have for other women who want to follow in your footsteps, and where can we find out more about you and The Right Turn?
Yeah, the Reclaim Haven really focuses on women, although we do have some men involved every now and then. A lot of times women, as we age, we kind of lose who we are. We become somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's everything. And then one day you look around and you're not even quite sure who you are, because we're multitaskers. We are givers of everything to everyone to make sure, everyone's taken care of. And sometimes we negate taking care of ourselves. And a lot of women don't even take a day off to, I'm having a me day, especially moms and women who are married. Then there's the job, the stresses of being a woman at a corporate job or any job where you have to be always on your P's and Q's, but you can't be too much of a B, but you got to be strong. But if you're strong, but don't be a B, because then you're not. So it's all this stuff that we navigate. And I've done workshops where, I've talked to women who were lawyers and principals at school. And I asked them, so what is your passion for you? They had no clue. Successful, make a lot of money, but there were things that they've always wanted to do for themselves that they've never done and very insecure about. So what my program does is, we help you to redesign your blueprint, meaning you may be success, but you also may be carrying baggage from your parents and your family and whatever they dictated to you, that you don't even know you're living out because you've done it so long, it's your norm. And so, but those are blueprints that were set for us at a young age that we followed all the way through our adulthood. So with the blueprints, we get to design the blueprint of a life that you want. And then you have to rewrite the script that you literally write your life, because we're all living in a play. Everything, this whole conversation is a play. You know, it's a production. This is my production. I've invited you in, and you in, and you in, and you in. It's your production. You've invited me in today, but tomorrow I won't be in your play because you've written me out. So there are people that need to be written out of our production every day. There are people who don't serve us that needs to get written out. Just like if we're sitting in a movie and we don't like the movie, we're not going back. But we keep people in our lives who don't serve us because, for whatever reason. So it's about rewriting your script and redesigning your life so that you can now live the life, whether it's 50, 40, whatever, you can live out the rest of your life with an intention and a purpose that services you. So that's what Reclaim Haven.
I think I need that service.
Yeah, right? I was like, I need to.
Yeah, Reclaim, yeah, we can talk. I'll send it to you. I do workshops and private things, whatever you guys need, absolutely.
So
Yeah,
where can
it's
people,
very important to do that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, where can people find more about that? Your workshop.
It's reclaimhaven.com.
All right, thank you.
RECLAIM Haven, HAVEN.com. You can also reach me at the Terrah, TERRAH, Bennett Smith on IG, and Terrah Bennett Smith on Facebook.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So for my initiatives, I've been doing nonprofit activism work all my life. From a teenager, I was volunteering. I started my first nonprofit in '92 called the World Trust Foundation, which was empowering young people and doing the Reveal to Heal from trauma. And it transformed into Global Women's Empowerment Network in 2012. And since then, I do a lot of workshops like Terrah in the women's world, but I also have done more of a deeper dive in another avenue with regard to sex trafficking, domestic violence, and healing from those kinds of trauma. I presently have a film out on the film festival circuit, which we tagged in when we were filming The Right Turn. In fact, Terrah plays the hotel rescue worker, and two of our other cast members from The Right Turn are cast in that as well. It's right now on the festival market. We've already gotten 12 film festival awareness, including Cannes World Film Festival for justice, social justice, and best director, which I was the director. And I'm leaving next week to go to DC for the Whistleblowers Film Festival. It's a whole week of 10-year whistleblower festivals and events and Capitol Hill and all kinds of stuff, because it's really going to be a place where I can be able to step foot back into Washington, DC for the advocacy for sex trafficking.
Wow,
I mean, if you have a
amazing.
moment and you do you want to do some great Italian while you're here?
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
You'll be like,
Well, actually, I can send you guys a link to where to get the tickets. Our film screens on the 22nd of July, the opening day of the film festival.
Go.
Oh, absolutely.
Because, I mean,
Okay,
you
so-
don't know this, but I'll talk about it later. Since
So-
we get off of here.
Where can people find out, donate, help you out with your stuff?
If you go to gwen.global, there's a donate page, and definitely we're working in collaboration with other organizations that are doing boots on the ground rescue and rehabilitation. So there's a lot more in the background of that whole other game plan.
Well, thank you so
both.
much for like taking time out of your schedule and coming on our show. We
No, I'm so glad to be able to do this with Terrah too.
Yeah, I know it kind of worked out as things always work out as they should. They're never accidents. Everything has.
Right.
When I found out that you both had the same link on the same time, I started praying, and God said, "Look, calm down."
No, it's brilliant because neither one of us knew that we were both on your show, and it just, as God planned, it's all great to be here because it's always good to be on a call with Terrah and talk about our mutual things. And I admire her work she's doing with empowerment and all that good stuff.
And vice versa. And
Vice versa.
congratulations to you ladies as well for doing what you're doing.
Yes.
Jay, do you want to go ahead and wrap us up?
I will wrap us up. Thank you for coming on our show. We really appreciate it. And just remember, y'all, that you can find out everything you ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the middle of the page and see the charities that we probably support. Hopefully you can support them also. We thank you in advance for that. And just remember, y'all, wisdom is all around you if
You're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Will Nona.
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, thanks for listening.